I'm just curious. You mentioned that when we were going back and forth earlier today that you had to go do a school visit. Was that hockey related?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm the director of youth hockey programs and fan development. So I'm kind of a hybrid role between marketing department and then the on ice programming. So I oversee all the ball hockey clinics for our VGK Foundation for sponsorship execution. Uh, excuse me, for rec centers, our indoor ball hockey leagues. So ball hockey is a big component of what I do also for marketing, fan development portion, and then also have on ice programming. So I do the Learn to Play Little Nights. This morning we were at Bob Miller Middle School. So we have with CCSD, our Clark County School District is we have a program. It's an MV Energy school program where we go to the schools. We do the ball hockey clinic. It's co-branded with our AHL affiliate Henderson Silver Knights. So we bring Chance and we bring Lucky to the schools. We do a ball hockey clinic with the kids as part of their PE curriculum. And then after that, hopefully we can get it on video. It's a little bit tricky, but we take the mascots and we just run through the halls and like go in every classroom and just crash the classrooms, and the teachers have no idea we're doing it. And it's pretty much like the funnest part of my day is just seeing the teachers and the kids just go crazy, and then we'll write like no homework on the board and they go crazy. So really neat, just touch point and fan experience for the kids, and even for the teachers. They give the mascots hugs, and it's super fun. And then we leave behind equipment as part of so all the middle schools have equipment, but now we're at the point where like kind of updating equipment. So they get sticks, pennies, balls, brand new. And we're doing that just, all year round. And then we have like a playbook poster that goes in their schools with the QR code, and it can scan the playbook where you can learn more about hockey and learn about positions and stuff like that. So that goes in the gym classes. So today, we were at a ball hockey clinic this morning, which was super fun. It was an all girls gym class. They had a female gym teacher. Really fun.
That's awesome. So I'm curious, like when you go into a school for the first time, let's say, how many of those kids or what percentage of those kids are picking up a hockey stick for the first time?
So that is the very first time is more Rex, like boys and girls clubs.
Yeah.
That sort of thing is more brand new. The school program, it's part of their curriculum. So they are in a PE unit at this point. And I try to go on the last day of they have a championship game, and we try to show up for the championship to like make it more special. And we don't tell the kids, we just show up there and we play in their championship, and we bring like our Vivas, our Knights Guard, our cast, and just have some giveaways. Today we gave away banners and just try to make like their gym class experience more special. And we play with them too. So it's really cool.
I'm curious. So I know, like, just even up in Canada here, where we're, and I apologize, I got a bit of a cold here, um, but we're trying to look at new and different ways to get kids and especially just new families involved with the game. And I know ball hockey's come up, and there's certainly some people that might say, well, that's different. That's not going to be the right get. Well, we got to get them on the ice. But just in your experience, is that proven to be an effective way where kids might get introduced through ball hockey, be it in their schools or elsewhere, and then that piques their interest and eventually they make their way onto the ice?
So the ball hockey, like from our perspective, I'm looking at it more of fan development. Like I want it to be a great day with the Knights. So, I mean, I'm not there actively trying to recruit you to get into hockey. Like if you would like to get into hockey, we leave information behind for the teachers where they can get into our pathway. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But as far as like bringing the mascots and all that stuff, we're just trying to, one, get sticks in as many kids' hands as possible. Maybe they watch it on TV, right? Maybe they purchase a t-shirt. Maybe they can go to the game, just so they can experience something different other than soccer and football. So yeah, it's really, my goal is to just make it the best day possible, like best day with the Knights. And like, I kind of think back, I grew up in Toronto. So the Toronto Blue Jays came to like the CIBC Bank one day. And I remember that experience. Like I lined up to meet the catcher, and they had the Blue Jays mascot there. And when you are, 6, 7 years old and you see something like that, I think it's so impactful. And it's like, whether some kids don't care about hockey, but they love chants, like our chants, like Christmas tree ornaments and stuff, they sell out so fast. People love chants. So maybe you love the team, maybe you love hockey, maybe you love chants. just you don't know what's going to get through to someone. And then if they do play in the arena, that's great. Or if they inquire about information, that's great. We did our job. But we also have indoor ball hockey leagues. So if ice is not your thing, our rec centers here at VGK, we have indoor ball hockey leagues. So there's a way for that, because not everyone can skate. It's hard. It's hard to skate. Here in Vegas, it's not as easy to access in Canada. Where are you guys? Are you guys in Canada?
Yeah, we're in. I'm just outside of Vancouver, but yeah, we're based in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm Canadian. I'm from Toronto. And access, was not an issue for me in Toronto ever. But in Vegas, access is a very big issue. So ball hockey is a great way to do that. Video games, kids playing video games at home, stuff like that, where it's just, yeah, maybe you just like the game.
It's funny you say that. I know at the Kraken's new practice facility, and that's where they run all their youth hockey. Like when you walk in the doors, first thing you see is like a row of game consoles with the latest NHL game. But I'm also curious. So like from an outsider's perspective, when I look at a Vegas Golden Knights game, and obviously, I mean, you guys had the whole hockey world was paying attention last year during the playoff run, but I mean, it seems like every single person in Vegas is a massive fan. Like I'll give you an example. Like we have the playoff games PVR'd
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
because my 4-year-old calls it hockey lights and he just wants to see the pregame show. And
Yeah.
like every once he'll say, "Hey, can we watch the hockey lights?" And we watch it. And it's like it's just in a totally different league of its own. It's so cool.
Our production team is unbelievable what they do. And they're a small team. And one of my favorite things about this, I've seen just from one of our guys on the LinkedIn, the production team, their slogan that they have amongst themselves is unapologetically us. So what we do
Yeah, that's
here,
awesome.
we are a Vegas show on the strip, right? We're not a normal hockey game. You have people you're competing for a lot of seats every night in theaters, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
ways to spend your money in Vegas. So people that maybe do love hockey, right? Like there's a lot of shows and stadiums. Katy Perry, all this, like there's always some big headliner here that you can take your dollars there. If you don't like hockey, you have a Vegas show. So the whole game is in-game entertainment times 1,000. And it's unbelievable. And for playoffs, some of the stuff they did was that they came up with it was nuts, like with the dragons and the ice, and we had drum bots coming down from the roof. They're drumming from the roof, and we work here, and it's like I'm surprised. Like, how did I not hear about this? How did it not leak? Like, they're just they're like 2 desks down. I'm like, how do you guys keep this stuff all locked up? And then they're just dropping drum bots down from the ceiling and back up, and they're drumming. And I'm like, oh my God, we had dragons like Game of Thrones. And it's just so nuts. So even if you work here, you're like still surprised about like how much we can keep one-upping ourselves as far as like entertainment, So that's really neat.
No kidding. And how, like, so, I mean, I guess this is year 3 for you with the
Yeah.
organization. When you first arrive, like, did you know what to expect? Because I mean, obviously there's the growth of hockey at the grassroots level and the fan experience, but I mean, it just seems like obviously a very unique place to be involved with the game.
Yeah, you do get used to it. It's like, definitely did not expect any of that. When I first moved here, it was for the junior nights. So I moved here to coach 12U hockey and then worked my way up into a position. Now I'm in the business office in marketing. So it's taken a little while, but I moved here for the youth hockey. Not so much for the VGK. Was obviously hoping that I would get hired on as the VGK, but when I was first here, it was just junior nights. So um, the youth hockey surprised me actually more than because at that time I didn't have tickets to the game. I went to a few games, but like it's expensive to go to games, so I didn't go to too many. But the youth hockey was just exploding here, and I was surprised to see how many kids, like it's hot outside, and then they're coming in. They're coming in with their hockey equipment and shorts, and you see just like at lunchtime, the public skating people will be in shorts and t-shirt. And coming from Toronto, you don't see people on the ice in shorts and t-shirt like you wouldn't do that. But here you see some stuff, and then the building is very busy. Like I was surprised at how busy the buildings are for hockey. Like it's just exploding at the seams here.
Well, I mean, you talk about youth hockey. So I was chatting with Bruce Cassidy the other day, and both his kids
Hmm.
play in the Junior Knights program, and he was mentioning, he said, yeah, he goes, the only thing that hurts us is he goes, we don't have enough rinks, and I said, oh, like, is the entire program run out of the Golden Knights practice facility? He goes, oh no, he goes, we have that facility. I think he said with two sheets plus the Henderson Silver Knights also have a facility. And I think he mentioned there was another two sheets there.
Yep.
And he said, yeah, like he's like, we've outgrown those two facilities. I was like, holy smokes. Like it's at that point already. Can you shed any light just maybe in terms of from just a purely participation level, how the game is growing?
Yeah, so we start here with Learn to Skate. So our Learn to Skate program between our two, and I'm just talking our two arenas here with Henderson and Summerlin, they're about half an hour apart. So we in Learn to Skate, we have 1,400 kids that are in Learn to Skate. Now you can
How
choose
many?
1,400 new and returning skaters. Then Learn to Skate right now, like
That's
right now.
unbelievable.
So where are they going to go, right? So it's almost like if you look at it like blocks. So they're in Learn to Skate right now. So some are going to pick that hockey pathway, and they're going to come in to Learn to Play, right? And that's where they kind of get into our pipeline, and then they go into the Little Knights or continue to play. And then our house league is like the biggest block right now. It's the biggest it's ever been. We have over 1,100 kids in house league right now, and only just a few years ago it was only at 92. Like in I think 2016, it was in 92 kids. Now we're over 1,100 kids. So our blocks, like, and where they can go in our pipeline, like the house league takes them all the way to high school if they stay there. Now on top of that, you have 500 adult league players. So it's like they need ice. Where are they going to go? And then you still have your public skates and adaptive sled hockey uses the ice. The Knights take up a big portion of like the daytime ice. So
Yeah.
we are busting at the seams. We go till midnight with the men's league hockey. Those guys all need to play. They don't want to play too late. And so we're just out of space right now. So yeah, we won a cup and you think like, wow, our numbers should double. Like it's hard because if people want to get into it, we don't have anywhere for them to go. We don't have enough ice. So hopefully, I know the ownership has announced like that we will hopefully be getting another rink soon over by the M Casino. And then November 20th, we just took, I think we're taking over programming over it was a casino. It's called Pepsi Ice. So we're going to
Okay.
take over the programming slots ice there. So that's going to free up a little bit of our pipeline that hopefully like the junior Knights can go over there. And I don't know exactly who's going to how it's going to get programmed, but we will get a little bit of relief here on November 20th. And then hopefully that buys us some time for them to, even if they stick a shovel in the ground now, it's going to be probably a year and a half to 2 years, right? So yeah, it's tricky. We also have it's not ours, but Reno Ice in Nevada. So Reno has a facility up there, and I think they're looking at adding on to their facility too because they're exploding in Reno.
Really? Well, I don't know what I clicked on. I think this article is from 2021, and it's saying that at that time, the growth of hockey in at the U8 player category
Yep.
jumped 668%, and the women's participation grew 327%.
Yeah. So those are USA Hockey annual report numbers.
That's phenomenal. And I mean, listen, you're coming off a Stanley Cup. I'm sure that doesn't hurt. However, I mean, again, just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like everything that the organization has touched since day one has been a plus. So we talked about ball hockey. You've got some great facilities. What else might you point to that would indicate or support, the rapid growth of the game and the participation at the youth levels?
Leadership. That's an easy answer. So our leadership is Darren Elliott. He played in the NHL. He played in the Canadian Olympics. He's the president of the Vegas Junior Golden Knights, and he's our senior VP of facility operations. So Darren's the top as far as youth hockey goes. Darren came from Detroit. He's worked in non-traditional markets with Atlanta and Sorry, excuse me, and then Vegas. So he's been at the foundation of that. He came over here from Detroit. He's with the Little Caesars program. He brought a guy with him, Andrew Stewart, who's a senior director of programming. So those guys are lockstep in like how we're going to grow this. And then that trickles down. We have hockey directors. Adam Miller played for the Las Vegas Wranglers, played college hockey, and then
Yeah.
Nate Putek, he's over at the Henderson facility. So we have very strong hockey directors at the facility. So it's like Darren, Andrew does all the programming, then our hockey directors, and then it goes from there. We all just really work together for our pieces to make sure that the pipeline is always moving in the right direction. And then I believe the Junior Golden Knights, I think we've taken a lot from Little Caesars, like Darren was president over there.
Got it.
So they know how to build an organization. They've done it before, and Darren's done it in non-traditional markets. So um, I would I would speak to the leadership that we have here, and then who he hires. Right, he's hiring guys that are hockey to their core, like guys that love hockey, they know the culture, and they can bring their experience, whether it's from Detroit or if it's from Canada. A lot of Canadian guys, um, and they bring that culture here. So we put in, I don't want to say the correct culture, but it's like a more of an East Coast Canadian Detroit, structure, and
Yeah.
then we've built from there. And then it goes to your coaches that you hire for the junior nights. Like everyone has playing experience, like you mentioned earlier. Brian Salcido, he played
Yeah.
for Anaheim,
Yeah.
so he coaches the 13U AAA's. You have very good coaches with the young age groups, which is something I've learned here. Is you don't want to wait till the kids are 15, 16U AAA to get the best coaches. You want to get the best coaches when they're 6U, 8U, because that's when they're really like cementing their foundation as far as
Yeah.
skills. So if you get them in front of like really strong 8U coaches, they're going to have a better foundation and develop faster and correctly versus waiting till they're 13, 14 to get in front of like the top guys. And the top guys want it, like in other places I've been, the top guys like only want to coach 16U or whatever. And
I was just gonna
here,
say, yeah, that's it's easy in principle, but that's tough to
no,
deliver.
here, like Adam Miller, he coaches the 8Us. Phenomenal player. He played in Europe, and he's coaching the 8Us. He also coaches the high school. But yeah, just I think putting your strongest coaches with the youngest age groups goes a really long way, really fast.
And so, at those, when players are starting out, I've got a lot of questions. I'm curious about the onboarding, but how many, I mean, you talk about the culture, so it's great that you've got coaches that have an extensive background in the game. How many of the parents of the kids who are signing up have any kind of an experience with the game, or is it just are you kind of onboarding the kids as much as you are um, the families?
It's definitely both. So here you have, I mean, kids want to get involved, right? So parents here, they grew up not definitely not with hockey. There's no way. So they know their kids. They like the Knights. They're either season ticket holders or their kids want to get involved. Excuse me. So the parents, I think you are here missing the education portion. Like in Toronto, Boston, Minnesota, people grow up with it. Either their dads played or their uncles played. Someone kind of just showed you the way. Here, we're missing that. So they did not grow up with hockey. And so here they watch, from what I'm seeing, don't hold me to everything, but what I've seen is they watch the Knights on TV, and you expect kids to break out like that. Like it doesn't translate watching on TV versus like having done it yourself. Whereas like in other markets, I feel like if you played, you're not going to be as hard as on kids because they don't have the arm strength to move the puck. They're not,
Bingo.
you know what I mean? Just stuff like that where it's like here they're like they see the TV, that's how we should do it, coaches, that's how you should do it. It's like, no, these are professionals. They're the top 1% best players in the world. They're grown men. They're not nine. So educating parents is something we've been working on. Like last year we had Katie Holmgren from USA Hockey came and did a panel for parents, just educating parents. I would love more parents to come out and try like an adult learn to play just to see how hard it is to skate. Like to try to skate and move a
Yeah.
puck. You're so hard, like yelling at these kids, yelling at refs, that sort of thing. It's very tough if you don't understand how hard it is to actually skate and move a puck and skate backwards and look around and someone's trying to hurt you. And Yeah, so we need to do, I think, maybe a little bit better job on parent education. I think that's in North America. I think I've seen because
That's
people
totally.
are very hard on officials. They're very hard on coaches. And I mean, if you're out here coaching minor hockey, you're not in it for the money. You're in it because you want to give back. You're in it because you love the game. You're spending your time like 7 or 8 o'clock at night helping 9 year olds. Like, there's no reason to yell at them. So it's like either help or get out of the way or just sit and enjoy watching your kids play. And I think parents need to take, in every sport, baseball, everything, enjoy that little window that you have with your kids. It's like sit here for an hour and watch them. You don't need to yell. You don't need to bang on the glass or do the dad angry pose. Let them just play, please, because they're so young, and it's, I don't know, you don't get that time back. So I just wish more parents would enjoy the time they have versus, expecting to make the NHL. And I think that obviously is in North America. It's not just in Vegas.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm racking my brain here who I was chatting with, but I was talking with a coach at a higher level. Might have been on the podcast, but at any rate, they mentioned that when they were a kid, they're like, like my parents never watched practice. Like I got dropped off at the rink. I
Yeah.
walked from the parking lot by myself, got my own gear on, went on the ice, and my mom or dad might ask me how practice was at the dinner table. And I said, "Oh, like were your parents not hockey fans?" They're like, "No, like we were a hockey household. Like my parents loved the game."
Yeah.
It's just it never occurred to them that they would come to practice and scrutinize every single detail. And I think it's just it's part of the access. But I do think in our sport, this is just, again, this is my own theory. I think as the commitment, both in terms of the time commitment as well as the financial commitment to play,
Mm.
I think we're kidding ourselves that even parents that have the best intentions and we might categorize as the most neutral and kind of the ideal hockey parents, like it's like anything else. Like if I start shelling out a lot of money to a personal trainer and
Yeah.
spending a lot of time in the gym, I might not be trying to be Mr. Universe, but I better start seeing some six packs
Yeah.
when I
And I
look
think
in the mirror. And
that's
I
a
and
good
I think
point.
that we I think that's a big part of it. Is just
The cost.
we're yeah, and it comes all that comes with expectations, and
Vegas
but
is a little crazy too because I mean they have to fly to games. So 10 year
which is
olds,
I was
they're
going to ask about that.
nine,
Yeah,
they have to fly to games, and it's a normal thing. Like this weekend we're hopping on Southwest, they're going to Chicago, they're going to Nashville, they're going wherever they can get games.
your
But
kids have like frequent flyer miles.
Southwest got a good program. Yeah, they do. So Southwest, your bags fly free. Southwest is a big hub here in Las Vegas. So, but the parents are used to it. But it is an added expense, especially if you're bringing siblings, husbands, wives, like extra people along, grandparents. Growing up in Toronto, within 45 minutes, like if we had to go to Hamilton from Toronto, that was like my dad was mad about it
That
because
was a big roadie.
we would stay overnight in Hamilton. It's like an hour and a half away.
No
But it was
kidding.
just like so many teams in Toronto. So it's like they don't have that here. There's only one other club in town that they can play. And so if you want to play outside, that and be a good team and get games, you have to travel, and that's where it gets very expensive very quickly. Is and the club fees and the equipment and the sticks are now $300. So these kids aren't getting Canadian Tire sticks like we got from the gas station. you know,
My kid uses a Canadian Tire
you
stick.
got my dad cut down the Coho Revolution, so I had like 180 flex, and I
Oh
got
my
by.
god, that's amazing.
But yeah, they wouldn't do that here. You're not cutting down any sticks. There's no Canadian Tires, so they get the $300 Bauer sticks, and yeah, it's expensive.
I bet. And just going back to, I guess, like that onboarding, that initial development, what would be the philosophy at those initiation levels, just from a technical perspective? Like, and I'm not talking so much maybe the communication that goes out to the parents, but just amongst the coaches, like what's what gets emphasized at those
Are you
initiation
talking
levels?
for travel hockey?
I'm just talking when kids are starting out. Like, what would be maybe some
Oh, like
hacks that you've discovered to get kids, just, and I sense that at that level, I mean, I'm not saying that we need kids taking like one timers as quickly as possible, but I do believe there's a benefit. The sooner a kid can get moving and feel, the wind in their hair and
Oh,
appreciate that aspect
gotcha.
of the game,
Yeah.
like that, you can get them hooked. So how do you, from a development standpoint, what have you
So
maybe
we
learned to get
definitely
them
do
going?
not shortcut here. So for us, your first entry to hockey is the NHL Learn to Play program, which you need to
Yeah.
be 5 years old. And that you'll get the equipment, you'll get all the equipment from Pure Hockey. We do a custom fitting.
Like
Uh,
everybody.
yeah, I think in Canada, what do you call it? First shift in Canada.
Yeah.
So
It's not maybe as accessible to everybody, but it's out there for sure.
it's similar. So it's a very low cost. The equipment's subsidized. You get all the equipment head to toe. We do a whole fitting. Pure Hockey flies in from Boston. We do a whole show for your first. You get your Knights jersey, your stick. Everything ships to your house, and you're good to go. And then we start them out in an 8 week lesson. But before they can get to that, so that we start in the Learn to Skate program. So, I mean, you can't go into hockey not knowing how to skate. It'd be impossible for coaches. It'd be impossible for a lot of stuff. So, you cannot, it's invite only. You can't get into the NHL Learn to Play program in our facilities unless you have completed the entire Learn to Skate. So, it starts
I
like
think that is that normal? I think that's so smart.
I don't know if it's normal. I think some clubs do like a try hockey for free and they're like, boom, you're in Learn to Play now.
Yeah.
And that's from a coaching standpoint, it's a mess. Like you have to hold kids up. Like the skill level's too different. You can't run your stations, where kids can develop. So every single kid that we get in the Learn to Play has the same foundation. So takes about a year. They start, in the snowplow 1 through 4, and then they do a basic, and then you have to do a hockey 1 and 2. So you don't have sticks at this point. But you learn hockey stops, you learn the backwards, just the basic stuff where, okay, now when you get to Learn to Play, all the kids can stop, they can transition to backwards, they can balance with
Yeah.
a stick in their hand. So our Learn to Skate program here is excellent. Our director, Carolyn Mortensen, does a fantastic job with having very, very good coaches that care on the ice with these kids, and they make it fun. Like they pick up little dinosaurs, they got cool helmets. So that's their first entry. And then when they get to us for the NHL Learn to Play, that's where it's like, here's your night jersey. You've been knighted. We give them their jersey that very
That's
first
awesome.
day. All the stuff
I want to
ships to
get
their
knighted.
house. Yeah, you get knighted. We have a 6'6" Mark Stone that they take
Come
photos
on.
with. And so you see them as like 5 year olds and then how big like you
Oh
need to
my
get.
God, that's
It's
awesome.
really, really cool. And then everything will ship to their home within about 2 weeks. So for their first day, they just show up. They're good. Their sticks are already taped. They're ready to go. And then so they do 8 weeks of NHL Learn to Play, and that we have NHL alumni on the ice. So Derek England does it for us. He comes out on the ice. So I mean, your first time in hockey, you're skating with Derek England. So that's really cool. That leadership. I mean, you
Yeah.
always say like, if you see it, you can be it. But here's Derek England. He was a defenseman for the Vegas Golden Knights, very well known in the city. Fans love it, parents love it, kids love it, and he's great with the kids. He does all the drills and everything. And then after that, we got Little Knights. So they go into a continue to play program that's cross ice. So they have one practice a week, and then they do cross ice once a week. So they do that for eight
Yeah.
weeks. After that, we go to a squee-wee transition house league that's half ice. So instead of going this way, now you're going this way, half ice.
So sorry, this is like 8 week increments. You just kind of, or is this
Every
season by season?
yeah, every 8 weeks we have 5 sessions a year. So there we just kind of
Wow.
reload every 8 weeks. So the Learn to Skate is they're
Year round.
yeah, yeah,
No
it doesn't
kidding.
doesn't stop. So 5 sessions, 8 weeks, and it all times together. So when Learn to Skate finishes, I get a list from Learn to Skate graduates from Hockey 1 or 2. These people are ready to go. They get an invite into here. They reload here. Then these guys go from Learn to Play. They go into Little Knights, and it just keeps moving up and blocks up the pipeline. So our Little Knights graduates then go into the House League, and they stay in the House League, for a year. That's a year, like a full fall
Yeah.
season. And then we just move into blocks, and we all work together with the skating academy, like when everyone times on the same date. And that's where your programming, our senior director of programming, Andrew, makes sure that everything at both rinks finishes the same time, and we just all flow together and we all work together, and it's awesome, and it works.
Where like this is the first time, and maybe I'm just naive, but I talk to a lot of hockey folks. This is the first time that I've heard of this type of system where, you're going by 8-week increments. But I mean, I'm kind of living it right now. I mentioned I got a little guy, he's in U7. And I mean,
Mm,
you see it like from September till now, the beginning of November, like the change in these kids is dramatic.
yeah.
And you can see where that sort of process just makes so much sense. Where was is this coming straight from USA Hockey, or is this sort of maybe developed a little bit internally in terms of best
Yeah,
practice?
I believe it's internal best practice is something that we do here. I don't know if it came from USA Hockey. I just know it works, and that's how when I was on board here, I was like, this is how we're doing it here, and everyone just works together and communicates, and everyone just pushes up together, and we have a system, and it runs itself really like. And then you think too with the kids, so learn to skate, you can essentially get in at 4, right? So you do your year. But some kids are a little later. If you're 9, if you're 12, we have to be able to accommodate those kids. You can't turn away. And you can't put kids that are 12 with 5-year-olds in that, right? So our little nights is split by birth year. So we have a group A and a group B, and we put the
Got it.
mini bite the boards out. And so the kids always stay with their birth years and their size. Like if you're 6 or 7, you're staying here. If you're 13, 14, you're down here with the bigger kids and the bigger goalies. And
Yeah.
then when they get to house league, we have the 8U, the 10U, 12U, 14U high school house league. So everyone, regardless of age, you can come through, learn to skate, little nights, and house league, and it's tiered. So if you've been playing house league for 4 or 5 years, someone just graduates from little nights, you can't throw them in the tier 1 house league. They have to go in the tier 2 house league.
Yeah.
So we've put a lot of thought into accommodating every age and skill and where they're coming from and where they're going to go. So you have to look at that all the time. Is like, who do you have right now for birth years? Okay, do we need to make a little squee-wee house league so they're not just staying in little nights for 8 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 weeks until the house league opens? We make a little squee-wee house league for them, and just keep moving up. You don't want to get stuck at a level that you're not developing. So I think we've done a very good job of the ladder here, all the way up to high school.
Wow, that's so cool. And you know what? You just as you're saying that, like what occurs to me is I think that so often in sort of the traditional way that we structure youth hockey is, you get kids that, you point out the kids that maybe start a little bit later. So they jump on the ice and
Yeah,
again, if they haven't taken learn to skate, so they've got that window where they're just trying to figure out how to get
yeah,
from one end of the rink to the other. And in that time, they're probably not touching the puck at all,
yeah.
right? And then by the time they get to their games, they might be on the ice with kids that have been, they're just a little bit further ahead. So again, they're just never around the puck. They never really get to play the game. And I think probably what happens in a lot of cases, and I don't know if this is tracked, but kids just they might lose interest because they're not really playing. They're just out there, kind of motoring
Struggling.
around
Yeah,
and but putting those kids in an environment where they're like amongst, equal level kids. I can imagine that you guys probably have a lot of examples where kids might have been late bloomers, but now because they can go in, they can learn, they can touch the puck, they can actually play. Man, they might leapfrog some other kids because all of a sudden they love the game and they're motivated to get better.
yeah. Confidence. You want to come to the rink. Also, if they're
Yeah,
with their own age group and skill level, they're going to make friends naturally. And then you get some friends
yeah,
in here. In Vegas, it's hard. Hard to make friends, especially like around the rink. You get little teammates, and they move up together, right? Like so, if you're 13 or you're 5, you're still moving up together. So, yeah, I think we've done a very good job with that, and I think there's not too, our retention rate is, I would probably say it's 100%. Like everyone moves up, and sometimes they want to switch arenas, but it's people come back, so it's very good, and that's I think where our growth comes in is that yeah, we're making sure the kids are having fun and learning correctly and learning properly from good coaches.
you mentioned that when you first joined the organization, you were involved with girls hockey, and again, the stats around the growth of the girls game within your club is exceptional. Um, is there maybe an advantage? And I'm just again, I'm thinking of this on the fly, but is there maybe an advantage with growing, the girls game where you're coming in new and there's not this precedent or this perception that hockey's it's a boys sport. It's that you can really start out fresh. The hockey is for everyone, and if you're a young girl and you want to be like you know
Yeah.
the night you see on TV, you're more than welcome.
If you want to talk about women's hockey, you're going to have to add another hour to this podcast. So
We do. We got lots of time. We got nowhere to
that's
go.
my passion. So
Yeah.
obviously, I play girls and women's hockey. I love girls and women's hockey. I love seeing it grow. I wish we had a challenge here being in Vegas is hiring female coaches. It's been very difficult. I'm in the NHLCA, the Female Development Program. We
Yeah.
have a message board I put out like, "Hey, we're looking for coaches." And it's hard to get people to move out here to coach. Obviously, you have to have something else going on if you're just going to do youth hockey. But yeah, and Reno's doing a very good job. They have a female coach out there too, and a lot of women coaches on the ice, and their numbers in Learn to Play are doing honestly much better than ours, just because I believe that they have more women coaches out on the ice. So it's been hard here, even though
I have a
we are doing good, but I think we could do way better if there was more women coaches.
Okay, so this is great because I mean this is something that we're really passionate about. And I when I say this, I'm not I know that there's a lot of they might be dads or just any males that are coaching girls hockey. That's awesome. No issues with that. However, you know, I would assume that if you're a young girl, the opportunity to go play a sport that is coached by a woman probably just feels more comfortable. Like that only makes sense. And we're certainly trying to get more involved in developing female coaches. And I know at our conference, for example, I think in 2019 we had 5 women at the event. We had
Yeah.
over
Oh, I've been
we
that
spoke
woman
to
in the USA Hockey coaches meetings, level fours or whatever. And there's one other woman, and they make you stand up. And it's like, yeah, we know we're the only 2 women here. You don't need to make us stand up, like just
Okay,
stuff like that. Like,
but you know what? I'm so glad you said that
yeah,
because like guys need to hear that. Being honest, like
yeah,
we do. And I mean, I can remember, um, we had a young coach. She now actually works for the Toronto Maple Leafs in ticket sales, but she came out to her event in 2019, and I went up to her, and again, there was 5 girls. I said, I'm like, how? I said, this has to be kind of intimidating. She's like, yeah, like it's not the most comfortable environment.
yeah.
But
And I bet you
how?
those women probably have resumes the strongest in the room, because if they're coaching, they probably played somewhere, and they have
Yeah,
strong
bingo.
resumes. And then you have to sit there and listen to guys they've coached like their son's one team for 1 year, and you have to listen to them like put their hand up for every question. It's like, it's just, yeah,
Well,
it's tough. It's not, I don't know if it's tough. I think it's changing. Obviously, programs like the NHLCA, the Female Development Program, and Lindsay Pino have done a lot there to get women into the game through the doors, like women that are already around the game, just helping elevate them in their work life. But yeah, it's difficult.
no, I would agree. I think what Lindsay's done with the NHLCA, it's tremendous, and I think what I was going with is like it's that mentorship, and that probably takes time because you have to have people like yourself that get an opportunity and have the ability to pay it forward. But I do I hope and think that there's enough people now to really motivate women that have are on the tail end of their playing career to view coaching. And I mean, it's great that you guys obviously have an opportunity where while it might not be a full-time gig, I sense that it's an opportunity to really dive in and really learn the craft. So for anybody and women out there listening, there's
Yeah,
there might be a
please
cool
come coach
opportunity in
in
Vegas.
Vegas. We need some junior nights
Yeah, no
coaches on the
kidding.
girls' side. So,
Yeah,
I mean, our guys' coaches are great. Obviously, like we have very
yeah.
good coaches, but I would like to see more women behind the bench. It's just hard to get them to come out to Vegas, but it does make a difference. I think it makes the girls more comfortable. It makes them more confident. You coach, I believe, with more empathy than if you're a man. I feel like the man, if they are coaching women, they're just going to give you the game. Like here's your breakout, here's your drills. They don't emphasize or have that, like the feelings that we have. Like we're like, I don't say more emotional, but like we are a little bit more emotional, and I think women can recognize that. Like if a girl's having a bad day, maybe pick her up, or as a guy might make him jump back in line and skate it out. And it's like, oh, maybe she just needs to say, like, maybe she's just having a bad day. Whereas I think we coach with a little more empathy, a little softness, that works, I think, now. But yeah, it is still difficult, and like dealing with dads is exhausting, honestly. Like some of them all the way through. Like I've coached boys AAA, like high school, all over. I was in Pennsylvania, I was in Connecticut, I was in Maryland. It doesn't matter where you are. There's always some dad that's like, we can scream from the rooftops, from the NHL, from USA Hockey. We need more women. We need more women. When there are women out there, leave them alone. Like we don't. They just. It's honestly exhausting. Is just questioning like everything they do. And I think like the men get it, but I think women get it a little bit harder. Where you always have to just prove yourself or have a chip on your shoulder that you belong here. And we do belong here. Like I played Division 1 hockey. I'm Canadian. I've coached NCAA. I can coach your 9-year-old. It's okay. Settle down. So some of that is just like it wears on you, honestly. It gets exhausting. It's just like you want women here, you have women here, leave them alone, which I'd like to
Yeah,
see more of.
and again, I think what you're pointing out, like it's everywhere in youth hockey, and I mean we certainly see it that it's harder to be a coach today because there's so much scrutiny, and I think maybe this does go back to your comment about the internet, where all of a sudden everybody's can go on YouTube for 20 minutes and become an expert on how to
Yeah, now
teach
you're
and
a
coach the
coach,
game.
right? Like you watched a
Yeah.
YouTube video that may or may not even be right, So, and what is right? It's hockey is very subjective. Like, what any coach you could ask any coach from anywhere, they're all going to have different thoughts on like what they think is right. And I don't think there is really one answer on depending on how you're teaching or what you're trying to teach. It's very subjective on what you believe, maybe what you grew up with. The generation now, it's 2023, you can't do stuff even that you did in like 1996. You can't do some of that stuff anymore. So yeah, it's all just very subjective. It just kind of depends what kind of coach you are, who you want to be, and there's not really one formula to coach anything. It's just either you got it in you or you don't, I think.
No, I agree. I agree. And now I guess so. There's 32 NHL head coaches. There's not 32 rules in the NHL like the one you have in terms of fan development and being involved in the grassroots level. Um, how does one what's your path, like how does one get to this point? What's your experience with the game? And I mean, you just rattled off a bunch of coaching stops along the way. Can you bring us back to maybe growing up in Toronto? And it sounds like going from one hockey mad place in Toronto to another in Mankato.
Yeah, so I mean, my path was pretty traditional, kind of until it wasn't. So I grew up in Aurora, Ontario. My dad played hockey. My grandfather played. My grandfather played up until he was like 70 with cancer. Like he still
No
had
way.
cancer and he was still playing. My
Wow.
uncle, my brother was a goalie. He was younger than me and he played. So I was always surrounded by it. And growing up, I was a tomboy, if you will. So always my friends were guys, and we played street hockey. Out like on our street, we would just play like almost every day. Played street hockey with our whole neighborhood. Would come out after school, and just something that we grew up with. So I played girls hockey for the Aurora Panthers organization, and then when I got good enough, I wanted to try out in Toronto, and I played for the Toronto Arrows organization, which was a very prominent women's club at that time. So I was on the junior Arrows and on the senior Arrows so it was 1998. Angela James, Cassie Campbell, Geraldine Heaney, Cheryl Pounder,
No way.
uh,
Wow.
all these guys. Like if you look up the roster, it's bananas. Some of them are in the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
they were on the senior Arrows. So I was on junior Arrows, so much younger. I think I'm like yeah, much younger. So we always had someone to look up to, and they were like, if you made that team, like everyone in Toronto wanted to be on that team because that was the old NWHL at the time. But they were just so good, like, and they were sponsored by Beatrice, which was kind of new for women's hockey, as you didn't have sponsorship involved. Whereas, like on the boys' side, you did with UTHL, they had all the equipment and all the stuff. So the Toronto Arrows was the first, I believe, like premier women's organization. So they had all the good players, they had all the good equipment, the senior league, and then the junior feeder team underneath. So when players were missing, it was almost like a AHL affiliate where we were called up. So we were still in high school, and like our whole team went Division 1. Like we were all very very good. So you got called up to play NWHL. So played Toronto Arrows a few games there before I went to school, and then I was offered a full scholarship to Minnesota State University. Ended up going there. Blew out my knee. Had a lot of. I've had concussion problems for like even when I was playing Arrows, concussion problems. So came back to Toronto and then started coaching. And interesting, Courtney Burchard Kessel. She
Oh,
was
no way.
on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
coached her. I was assistant coach
Come on.
on my first year of coaching Toronto Arrow. She was on the midget team, and so I was her coach. And then she came back and helped here an event with Vegas for girls hockey. So it was like a really full circle moment when she showed
Yeah.
up. I'm
No
like,
kidding.
"You're helping me coach. Now you're a coach." And like it, yeah, it's her career has been awesome to watch. Like really fun to watch that. So that was cool that you had her on the podcast. And so, anyways, Minnesota State University, and then got into coaching there. So around 2004, started coaching, and then obviously I had to go to work, right? So at the time it was volunteer, and
Yeah.
had to go to work. My dad owned a general contractor business, and then I met my husband. He was working for a company called SNC Lavalin, so an engineering firm in Toronto, and we were on a power plant project, and I met him there, and then we ended up getting married. So that changes your life path, right? He was American. I'm from Toronto, so I moved to
Got it.
I moved to California with him, and then we took a power plant project in New Zealand. So we moved
Oh, no way.
overseas. We've been all around the world. So we went all around the world for power plant projects for like a period of my life,
Yeah.
and so we did a lot of international. We did Madagascar, New Zealand, China, Guatemala, Antigua, Poland. And then it was like, this is too
Like you
much.
lived in all these places?
I was going back and forth. He lived in those places. We lived in New Zealand together for 2 years. I would
Wow.
stay in California and go back and forth and visit. And then it just got to be too much. Like this travel is insane. We decided, he quit his company and we started our own power consulting company. So we decided we're just going to do domestic projects on our own. So he would do the engineering stuff. I would do, the insurance, the paper, the travel, the taxes, all that stuff. So that took us domestically first to Maryland. And there I helped. So when we did these domestic jobs, we'd only be there for a year or two. So for a year or two, I mean, he's working during the day. At night, I need something to do, so I would volunteer coach like in the towns that we were in for these projects. So the first one was we were in Waldorf, Maryland, and then I helped with the USA Warriors, like the adaptive hockey there. And then after that
Oh,
project, we
cool.
went
Got it.
to Connecticut. We were in Middlebury, Connecticut, which I loved. I would love to move back there again. But I coached at
Yeah.
post university. I was an assistant coach there. Helped out with the Taft School. Gretchen Julian was doing a phenomenal job with
Yeah.
girls
I guess
hockey.
there's like a really a
The
lot of hockey going on in
prep
some
school
area.
circuit in Connecticut is it. Like I
Yeah.
wish I had I did have the opportunity to go to Kent School in Connecticut when I was younger, and I regret not doing it after seeing the Connecticut Loop, and not for the hockey, but where your life connections take you from these prep schools, right? I feel like that was a miss that I could have went down that path, but I mean, here we are. So, and then Coach Boys AAA there was Kennelly Prep, so helped them out there. And then after that, we moved to Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So in Johnstown, wild slapshot town, just
Yeah.
they were putting in a combined cycle power plant there and for CPV Energy, and we were there for 2 years. So reached out just to their local organization, kind of like when I'm in town, I'm like, hey, can I help? Can I volunteer coach? And they wanted to start girls hockey there. So they've never had girls hockey. They had hockey for 53 years, but they've never had girls hockey, which is kind of crazy because it's home of Slapshot. It was
Yeah. No
Hockeyville,
kidding.
such a
Yeah.
deep hockey history. I'm like, how did you not have girls hockey here? So if you Google, there's a story, Crosby's Girls, about like how we kind of exploded hockey
I
in
was going to ask you
Johnstown.
about. I read about it. Like that. It's amazing.
Kind of, yeah, the whole story was kind of crazy. So yeah, so after that, like Adidas like helped the girls out, and we grew, the girls hockey in Johnstown, and then COVID hit, so it's like, okay, we can't go on these power plants. These are like 1,500 men on these jobs, so we can't work. So now we have no work, which is fine. Like we're fine, but I started a hockey company called Thrive Hockey, and it was just doing. There was private rinks that would let us use the ice still, right? Even during COVID, they're like, hockey's not stopping. So I did a hockey company called Thrive Hockey and just did skills camps. We started shooting like just I think mostly out of boredom. It was like there's nothing else to do during COVID, but we started doing these hype videos for hockey, and
No
we
way.
we try to do them like better than Penn State. And like the guy that was helping me with it, he was going to University of Pitt for videography, so it was just
Yeah.
like a resume thing for him, and he would help me out. And we were just like always trying to one up our own videos. And the parents just loved it because we had these like, rap videos with kids like just elite editing, and it was just really cool for hockey. And so yeah, I did that during COVID, and then COVID like kind of wind down, and James, my husband, was looking at a job here in Vegas. So the next one would have been in Vegas, and I'm like, well, let me reach out to junior nights and see like if there's anything. And yeah, just emailed, got connected with Darren Elliott, and he's like, yeah, we need coaches. I'm like, cool, we're coming. Literally, I flew out here, like did a skate with the girls, met Darren, met with everyone. And then I was like, yeah, I'm coming, we're in, sold the house. And then it's kind of funny if you work here, everyone's had to do the same drive. Like everyone has, if you
Yeah,
take
I
this
bet that's a
job,
great point because like how many people? Probably a few people are actually from there,
I
right?
know everyone's got to pack up, and you're driving, and you're like, what are we getting into? I have my dog, and we had to stay in hotels, and it's like, what do we just get ourselves into? Like, is this the right thing? It's like, okay, it's maybe only for 2 years or 1 year. Like, we're coming out, and then ended up getting hired full time, and then now this is my dream. So it's like I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. So on my own accord, I'm staying here if they let me, and yeah, I love it. So I was hired as a director of girls and women's youth hockey programming for the Vegas Golden Knights, which is kind of cool because most organizations don't have a someone dedicated specifically to just growing girls hockey. So I got to do that, and then so we went from just one team to 4 teams in 2 years, and then now more girls are in house league, learn to play that sort of thing. So that's kind of taken off on its own, and it's fine. And a position opened up July 1st in marketing, so this youth hockey program's fan development role opened up, and yeah, I'm in marketing now. I work for my bosses Stephanie Rogers and Eric Tosi, and I'm having a blast over on the marketing side. It's really fun.
That's awesome. What a great story. What a great
It's a
journey.
long, it's a long story. Yeah, been
No, but like
everywhere.
but you know what? Like I think that's honestly, like it's probably my favorite part of um, doing this show is that it's not like anybody getting involved in hockey is not like being a lawyer or accountant where you just say I'm going to go to school for 4 years and then I'm going to get a job. Like everybody has a very unique path, and
Yes. So
it's
you
usually
always have a
yeah,
minor in hockey, is what I say, right? So I played,
yeah,
and you have a minor. It's like obviously I did other stuff before, but it's something that's always there, and it's like now I'm finally getting to work in hockey, but it's taken a really long time to
yeah,
get in the door with an NHL club. It's not something that happens very quickly. Even when I got here, it's I came for junior nights, so you put your time in, work your way up. You have to prove to people that you can work. Working in sports is relentless. Like we work every day, all year round. It's not something you can be half in. You have to be all the
yeah.
way in. So you have to be
You
all the
gotta
way
love
in
it.
all the time. So that is difficult too. So for people that want to work in sports, so I do get like kind of asked that all the time. Is I don't think people should be afraid to take like a lower level job and then prove yourself and work your way up. Like we have a lot of interns, if they're younger and expect to make a lot of money out of the gate, or you work in the NHL, you're going to make a lot of money. You have to put your time in. You have to prove to people that you are valuable. That you can work. So it's like, yeah, if your aspiration is to be X job, maybe take a lower one and work your way up as like that's your goal. So it's like don't be discouraged if you don't get your main job right out of school or right away. It's like take a guest services job. Maybe that's you're in the arena. If you're in the arena doing guest services, you're going to meet all the people that you need to meet. Maybe a coffee with them one day, or you help them out one day. If you're around, you're going to get asked to like help with more stuff just because everyone is so busy or so lean. And it's like if you want to get into sports, just get in where you fit in, and then just grind.
Yeah, I think that's what that's great advice. And again, that would be like another we talk a lot about it a lot on the show. Like how many NHL coaches we've had on here that their first real gig was like an assistant coach making no money in the East Coast Hockey League, and their job was basically making sure like doing the meals on the road and getting the
Yeah.
bus booked, etc. But
But part of that, you got to
that's
earn
the
it, and
thing.
guys see you earn it, and I think they respect like you put your time in. That guy drove the Zamboni. That guy did this. He can do this, right? Like if you can do it all, then you're going to be more valuable. And I think people do look to your past. It wasn't just handed to you, especially in hockey. It's like, okay, where did you come
Yeah,
from? What have you done? You've been around, and then it like you'll get respect. by hard work and being around. People are going to see you. So I think if you're just on a silver spoon, it's not going to go very far in hockey. Like you gotta earn it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. I imagine that you have a lot of players. You mentioned Derek Bootland,
Derek England,
Derek
yeah,
Egland.
yeah.
Um, you have a lot of players because their kids play in the program. Are they active in terms of coming out to practice? And if so, who might be some of the characters on the
Yeah,
Knights?
Jonathan Marchessault assistant coaches the 10U AA
No
Vegas
way.
Junior Golden Knights. His son is
Yeah,
on the team, so he's out there regularly, which is so cool to see them like just
he's
out
an
there.
original Knight. Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, very cool. But these guys are like they're normal guys. They're dads, right? They want to be out there on the ice, helping. Yes, they can help develop their kids, but I mean, he's hard on his own kid too out there. So, and it's really cool for people to see him out there. But so he's out there. Derek England helps with NHL Learn to Play with Little Knights. He helps with ball hockey a lot in the community for the foundation. So he's usually at ball hockey, loves it. He's come to Reno with us a few times to do learn to plays out there for the kickoffs. I'm trying to think who else is here. In the summer, there's more guys here with their kids. But active nights, I don't hope I'm not missing anyone. The one I'm thinking active night is Jonathan Marcia. So right. Oh, Sean Burke's son. He's in house league. So kind of funny with him. He was in Little Knights, and Little Knights they have to volunteer to play goalie, and then his son was on the road one time too, and I felt bad because he missed his like very first day playing goalie. He put up his hand to play goalie, and I'm like, oh no, like Sean's not here. That's like your first steps. I'm like, what do
oh
I do?
man,
He's missing.
yeah,
Do I send him a pick or what do I do here? Because I don't want him to miss his first steps. And the kid put on the pads and he went out there and he was good. And then I think kind of what helps cement him really in goalie is we have it's called Mites at Night. So Mites at Night, we have 8Us out there, and
yeah.
last year for whatever reason goalies like kept bailing on me. So Hudson got to do Mites at Night like a couple
The
times.
marathon.
Yeah, but he got to play in front of 18,000 people, and I think that like really like helped him.
Oh, you
I
mean
don't
like
know.
at the big rink during the
Yeah,
game?
so it's called Mites at
Wow.
Night. So during
Yeah,
first
yeah.
intermission, we have the 8Us. So I take them out there and they do a scrimmage for 3 minutes. So the house league 8Us get to do that. And for whatever reason, last year we do it for Henderson too, the Silver Knights, and we do it here. For whatever reason, we kept dropping goalies like a few days before. So he was like my Mites at Night e-bug. And now he's into it. He's on house league teams, and yeah, Sean's out here at the rink with him. It's really cool to see. And Sean came out last year with the girl goalies for the Vegas Junior Golden Knights. He's so helpful, so nice. But yeah, he's into it a lot. And then Bruce's kids play, so he's at the rink too quite a bit with his kids. That's it. I don't think too many players though.
The celebration last year with the Stanley Cup was just so unique with the party on the strip, etc. And obviously, it seems like everything that Vegas has done has been a first in some way. What's your greatest memory just from that whole experience of going on that run and obviously seeing the team punch their ticket and lift the Stanley Cup?
My camera roll is crazy. I can't believe my camera roll from that whole
No
playoff,
way.
my playoff run. I got like the wildest picks, but I think I never thought I would be part of a Stanley Cup parade. You know, I never thought
Oh,
I
you
would be.
got to. No way. That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
was I was in the parade. All the front office staff were in the parade, and it was kind of crazy
What a great
because
touch. Seriously.
yeah, the
So
organization really took care of us throughout the whole run. We had watch parties that were like at Stadium Swim, and they would take really nice care of the staff, right? So, because you're obviously, a lot of people are working, extra overtime and stuff to make sure that the fan experience, the team experience, everything's good, everyone that's working. So, they really, really took care of us in the office. And one of the things was being involved in the parade. And I don't even know how to explain it. Like even if I showed him photos, it's still kind of hard. Like I just light up like when I want to show people the parade. But we were at T-Mobile and we all kind of loaded up at T-Mobile, and then we were going down like the street to wherever the strip was, and we're just on these buses and trucks and stuff. It's like I have no idea where we're going, and there's not any people. there's no people at that point. And then you get to Las Vegas Boulevard and it turns and you see there's 250,000 people. I'm just getting chills like talking about it. It's
Oh
like
man.
how many people, and you're like, whoa, like I don't know. It just really hit me at that point. Is like how many people in this city, like the whole city, came out to celebrate the Knights win with the
Yeah.
Knights. It was fantastic, and everything they did. Like we were halfway down, and all the signs, like they had the players up on the signs, and then one of the signs said Toshiba Plaza is full. And I think we still had like a while to go before we got. I'm like, oh my god, like Toshiba's full. That's where we're heading to, where the arena is, and it's like, wow, like I still can't believe it that I don't. Yeah, being a part of that is unreal. And then like Summer of Stanley, we call it Summer of Stanley.
Yeah.
Like marketing had a party for like different people at different parties for like just so you could see the cup. They had it in the office for all the staff to see it. It was unreal, very special. Speaking of Bruce, Bruce did an over the top, above anything I can even put into words thing. Is we had a World Girls Hockey weekend here just recently, and we were playing. The plan was to play street hockey out in front of City National, and then do a clinic on the ice. Like so, it was 30 girls. Bruce is like, "What if we bring the cup?" And Bruce put it together. He brought the cup so the girls could play street hockey, and we had the cup there. It was unbelievable for these little girls. They're all in our house league, and the families got to take photos with the cup, and just very special, above and beyond that he does for youth hockey and for girls hockey. Just stuff like that we can do here, and the personnel that we have here that are willing to take their time and go above and beyond. Be like, what if we can do this? And so that'd be fantastic. So yeah, he's a big supporter, and just great guy as far as having on our side here for youth hockey.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm just struck by just in again the short time that you've been there, just how many amazing experiences and memories that you've obviously made, and it's a real success story. And again, well, Vegas is not the most traditional hockey market. I just sense that there's a lot that the rest of us involved with grassroots hockey can pull, borrow, and steal from what's going on there. Sheri, really appreciate making time to join us today, and
Yeah,
best of luck as you continue to develop new hockey fans in the desert, and hopefully, knock on wood, perhaps even repeat.
back to back. Thank you for having me on.